Central Regional Commander Samuel Ndanyi assures family of the mask vendor who was shot during the Albert Ojwang protests that justice will be served as the family seeks help in settling the mounting hospital bill.
Plus, Senior Counsel Paul Mwite accuses Parliament of acting in contempt of courts following the gazettement of IEBC commissioners.
Good evening. My name is Mboya. It's truly great to be back at the desk.
I am Muchuma Odim. Good to have you back, Tom.
Many thanks indeed. And our top stories in this live broadcast begins right now. Staring at homicide.
Central Police OCS Samson Talam to be charged with the murder of teacher come blogger Albert Ojwang. Extra legal killing.
The numbers have spiked since June 2024, a majority of which are linked to the police.
And it is very important that we work very closely with the employers.
The health debt.
Ministry now says SHA is owed billions in arrears. And brand Kenya.
President Ruto asks the diaspora to be good ambassadors of the country abroad. Many thanks indeed for joining us.
Good evening. A very warm welcome to the broadcast. Our socials at KBC Channel 1 on X, Facebook and YouTube. Our sign language expert tonight is Anne Wangeshi.
Let's now move to our lead story tonight. Interdicted Central Police OCS Samson Kiprotich Talam and 5 other co-accused persons will now be charged on Tuesday over the murder of blogger Albert Omondi Ojwang.
Justice Diana Kaveza deferred the plea, taking off the 6 after 2 of the accused failed to raise legal representatives. The Director of Public Prosecution has already preferred murder charges against the 6.
Ruth Wamboi is the one opening our coverage tonight with that report.
Six accused Samson Talam, Constables James Mukwana and Peter Kimani, and 3 other individuals, John Gige Gitau, Jean Amito Abuao and Brian Mwanikinjue, were presented at Kibera Law Court. The Director of Public Prosecutions Council informed Justice Diana Kaveza that the DPP has approved murder charges against all after a comprehensive review of the file.
Maybe after the defense have also responded, we can get directions on maybe when to come. We can come tomorrow morning. On our part, we are ready to come tomorrow morning, but we'll subject to your directions.
However, during quorum taking by the judge, she noted that 2 of the accused, John Ngige Gitau and Amito Abuao, did not have legal representation. Kaveza directed the Deputy Registrar Criminal Division to ensure the 2 have a state counsel by Tuesday before she admits all the accused for plea taking. Lawyers for the 4 accused, however, faulted the DPP for ambushing them with charges without informing them, terming the move ill-motivated.
I left this court at around 11. We understand the state wants to charge purely for the purpose of Wednesday's riots. And that is the pressure.
They also argue that the DPP has not followed due procedure of closing the miscellaneous applications that are pending at Milimani's lower court first before charging the accused.
I will handle you, then I will handle my normal course list. So if you are here you want to be here at 10 or 10:30? 10:30. 10:30. To allow you. So now I cannot direct that they be remanded at Nairobi remand because of the short period. Let them go back to the relevant police stations from where they have come.
They did not inform the lawyers. They did not inform us at all. It is somebody who saw them putting the OCS into the car who informed us and told me, Mr. Mbeta, yes, are you aware that your client is going for plea? I called Mr. Omari. Mr. Omari also had just gotten information and he was in court. So we rushed here.
Ruth Wamboi for Prime Edition.
Let's now move to Kasichana Masha's report on extrajudicial killing. Tom?
And a report released by a lobby group calling itself Missing Voices Coalition claims that there have been about 159 cases of extrajudicial killings and enforced disappearances since June 2024.
The group further alleges that out of the 104 cases were incidents of police-related killings.
Now, speaking at a forum in the city, the lobbyists want the justice system to speed up cases that they claim have stalled in the courts far too long.
Speaking during this year's commemoration to mark the Day of Justice in remembrance of the murder of lawyer Willie Kimani in 2017, former Chief Justice David Maraga called on the legal institutions to collaborate and fast-track justice of criminal offences.
Consider the mother who waits years for answers about her disappeared son, or a widow who faces intimidation while seeking justice for her husband's unlawful killing.
We must be bold in advocating for fast-tracking of these cases of police abuse. Strengthening collaboration among the judiciary, the office of the ODPP, the police, the civil society, and the public at large is crucial for achieving meaningful reform.
Maraga took a swipe at the police for what he claimed to be the use of excessive force in dealing with Kenyans.
The 2024 Missing Voices report lays bare the scale of this crisis. 159 documented cases of extrajudicial killings and enforced disappearances in a single year.
We only receive 25% from police. The rest is from public media, from families, from other people who are going to notify power. So we are trying to encourage and force the police to always report all deaths in the custody.
Speaking at the forum, said delayed justice was not only denying the family closure, but also exposes witnesses to danger.
Families go through psychological trauma with a lot of court adjournments. We also face loss of evidence because of the delays. You find that if a case takes 7 years, maybe some key witnesses die along the way.
The first witness to be heard should be the protected witness, and that case should be heard on a day-to-day basis. That means then you're not delaying the case in terms of being heard. If we actually were alive and implemented that rule in court, most of the cases we are speaking to today would not even take 2 years to complete.
The judiciary on its part decrying inadequate workforce and courts, calling on the legislators to allocate more funds to the institution.
It's upon Parliament to resource public institutions and give them adequate funding, because the judiciary submits its budget like every other agency. The Parliament committee that sits and looks at all these budgets and the entire House should be answerable to Kenyans on this matter of delayed justice on account of underfunding.
Kasichana Masha, Prime Edition.
From extrajudicial killings, let's now take stock of the SHA Compliance Status.
The government says employers owe the Social Health Insurance Fund some 21 billion shillings in unremitted statutory deductions.
Medical Services Principal Secretary Omar Oluga says that 44,000 employers are deliberately defying the law by not remitting the deductions on time and now risk being locked out of the system.
Timothy Kipnoso with that report.
Give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar. The government has told employers who have refused to remit social health insurance deductions. Medical Services Principal Secretary Omar Oluga said the hurdles currently being experienced in the national health regime are being aggravated by the blatant disregard of the law.
And we make sure that going forward, the system work seamlessly. We can get our money by the 9th of every month. We can pay hospitals by the 14th of every month. All the employees in this country, whether in the public or the private sector, can get the services that they are consuming without a hiccup, without being locked out of the system.
The ministry is currently pushing to recover 21 billion shillings owed by 44,000 employers.
It is very important that we work very closely with the employers so that we recover these 21 billion shillings so that we can also reimburse hospitals. Nairobi alone, that we are going to begin the exercise, we have 4.7 billion shillings in Nairobi alone.
The Social Health Authority says it will head to the counties to sensitize employers and the devolved units on the need to remit monies to SHIF.
And it's a very, very vital exercise because once those premiums come into the authority, we are then able to fulfill claims from our providers. And so starting today for the next 6 weeks across the country, we will be coming door to door to each employer to ensure that you're compliant with your remittances to the Social Health Authority.
Meanwhile, the Minister of Health is pushing for the enactment of the Quality of Healthcare Patient and Safety Bill to ensure the safety of patients in hospitals. The government hopes to stem misdiagnosis and erroneous prescription, which currently stands at 31%.
What that means is that those our machines must give the correct care to the patients. What correct care means that if you're going for an X-ray, the rays should not be more than what it is supposed to be. We are supposed to be doing the correct CT scans so that we do not subject patients to repeat CT scans and waste cost.
So women in biomedical engineering are really not enabled when it comes to medical device repair workshops. They are really in very bad shape, and I believe that our very supportive PS will be able to help us to come up with standards that are able to help us develop and equip our medical device repair workshops.
Timothy Kipnusu for Prime Edition.
From Health Watch, back to the courts.
Now, the High Court of Kenya has dismissed a petition filed by 4 doctors challenging the implementation of the Social Health Insurance Fund.
The petitioners had sought several prayers based on various arguments, including the constitutionality of mandatory registration and deduction of 2.75% on gross income for all Kenyans, employed and unemployed.
Now, in his judgment, Justice Chacha Mwita ruled that the petition cannot be considered without determination of outstanding issues in the civil appeal and petition E513 of 2024, namely Legality of Social Health Insurance Act 2023, Digital Healthcare Act 2023, and the Primary Health Care Act 2023, as well as legality of mandatory registration and statutory deductions.
Central Regional Commander Samuel Ndanyi has assured the family of Boniface Kariuki that justice for their son will be served.
Ndanyi, who visited Kariuki's family in Karirau village, Murang'a County, acknowledged the growing public concern over police conduct, but urged that the actions of the individual officers should not define the entire service.
This as the family pleads for help to settle mounting hospital bills as Kariuki fights for his life at Kenyatta National Hospital, as reported by Doreen Arange.
In Karirau village, Kangema sub-county, Murang'a County, a cloud of worry hangs over the home of Boniface Kariuki, the 22-year-old mask vendor who was shot in the head on Tuesday last week in Nairobi during protests over the death of teacher and blogger Albert Ojwang. Central Regional Commander Samuel Ndanyi, accompanied by other senior police officers, visited Kariuki's family and promised accountability and justice.
2 police officers have already been arraigned in court. I want to assure you that we are working closely with the Independent Policing Oversight Authority, that is IPOA, and other relevant agencies to ensure that justice is served openly, fairly, and without compromise.
However, for the family, there's a more pressing concern, a hospital bill that grows by the day.
Kwa sasa imefika 1 million. Huyo kijana ndio alikuwa tegemeo wa hii familia, na hiyo bill, hii familia na wenyeji wa hii eneo mahali huyo kijana anatoka, hiyo bill hatuwezi kulipa.
Kariuki, who underwent surgery last week, remains admitted to the Kenyatta National Hospital Intensive Care Unit, clinging to life. Doreen Arange for Prime Edition.
Moving on, President William Ruto is calling on Kenyans living in the diaspora to be good ambassadors of Kenya in order to attract investment opportunities in tourism as well as trade.
The head of state, who met Kenyans living in diaspora in State House, Nairobi, also said the government has secured jobs abroad for 393,000 Kenyans in 16 months.
He said that the government has also made it possible for Kenyans who have secured jobs abroad to acquire passports within record 2 days.
If you have a letter of employment, within 2 days, maximum 3 days, you have your passport. We have also brought all the other services, the DCI, fingerprints, everything to one house. We have also provided money. For those who do not have money to buy a ticket or to buy something or to do what, we're also providing support for them.
Now, on to that story that we teased at the beginning of the program. The National Treasury has committed to disburse the remaining county funds for May and June on Friday this week.
In the 27th ordinary session of the Intergovernmental Budget and Economic Council meeting, chaired by Deputy President Kithure Kindiki, the governors raised concerns over the delay in disbursement of the funds, citing disruption of service delivery in the counties.
Give us on Maina is the one on that story.
The county governments are expected to receive the remainder of their revenue allocation by the end of the week, before the expiry of the current financial year on 30th June next week.
Disbursements, I think we've done well. Just a month or so left. We might not give the June money before the financial year ends. We roll it over.
This was agreed during the 27th ordinary session of the Intergovernmental Budget and Economic Council meeting, chaired by Deputy President Kithure Kindiki in Karen, that brought together the Council of Governors, the Control of Budget and Cabinet Secretaries, including John Badi of National Treasury, Aden Dole of Health and Mutai Kagwe of Agriculture, among others.
We need to make a decision on county government additional allocations Act legislation, because it is delaying absorption of development partner funds. We need to look at how we can cut down on that legislative period, which is quite lengthy. And
the meeting also resolved that a committee be established to mediate the financial conflict between the governors and the Control of Budget.
If we work through coordination, consultation, and collaboration, and put in place the necessary agreements between the two levels of government, it should be possible. A lot of these issues are leadership issues.
It was also agreed that parties withdraw from the petition that halted bursaries by the counties and settled the matter out of court within 30 days.
We just need a little bit of protection with respect to the boundaries of functional integrity. Because for us, when we try to do something that is remotely related to national government, the controller will freeze us.
Deputy President Kithure Kindiki saying nobody can plow back on devolution.
We make sure there are drugs, we make sure there are equipment, but we are not running hospitals, which are supposed to be run by counties. So that is the spirit in which some of these things should be done. I see a lot of accusations about, I don't know who wants to claw back what function. Nobody has the capacity. No administration has the capacity to roll back even an inch of devolution.
Even as the National Treasury agrees to release funds owed to the counties by Friday this week, the county governments will only have 4 days to spend the money before the 2024-2025 financial year expires on 30th June next week. Giverson Minor, Prime Edition, Nairobi.
It's 18 minutes past the top of the hour. You're watching Prime Edition. And coming up,
the First Lady Rachel Ruto leads national celebrations to mark the 21st International Widows' Day.
Plus the tales of a son.
All that's coming up after this short break.
Semana Sports.
Semana Sports is a bold, enlightening television show that offers Kenyans a direct line to the heart of government operations. Hosted by the government spokesman, Isaac Mwaura.
Welcome to Semana Sports Bonga da Gava.
This weekly program features candid conversations with senior government officials, cabinet secretaries, and heads of key parastatals as they break down their ministry's achievements, challenges, and strategic plans.
Cage aquaculture farming,
yes.
8.7 billion.
Yes.
So there's a lot of money.
There's a lot of, and we have not even tapped the potential.
As we get closer to start constructing the first nuclear program, we should have a robust regulatory framework.
Thank you, the spokesperson, for this chance, where we are able to converse with our government.
Semana Sports.
Hii sio story ya jaba.
Sio story ya jaba. Mimi ni Mkenya mzalendo daima.
Thank you.
Tuesday at 8 p.m. only on KBC Channel 1.
Welcome back. Well, I was in the process of saying tales of a son lost to drugs and a daughter numbed by alcohol. That story will be coming up shortly. Welcome back.
Talk to us on all our social media platforms at KBC Channel 1 on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Let's now move to IEBC case hearing.
That's right. It's a story we teased at the top of this broadcast. The petitioners in the case against Independent Boundaries and Electoral Commission, IEBC, commissioners led by Senior Counsel Paul Muite, have accused the National Assembly of acting in contempt of court.
The three-judge bench of the High Court, led by Lady Justice Roslyn Aburili, was on Monday told that the gazettement of the commissioners, including the chair nominee, was done despite existing conservatory orders barring the process from proceeding.
Here's that report.
Petitioner's lawyer Paul Muite told the High Court that the National Assembly's move to vet and approve the nominees amounted to a direct defiance of the court's authority, urging the judges to annul the Gazette notice appointing the chair and the commissioners of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission in its entirety.
This honorable court is entitled first to declare this Gazette notice a complete nullity, because anything done in violation of court orders is a nullity.
The court was told that anyone found in contempt of court should be denied audience until the contempt is purged.
You are entitled to impose a fine on the contemnors, including the president.
It is our position that the selection and nomination was conducted in an opaque manner, failing in that regard to adhere to the constitutional principles and or national values of transparency and accountability.
However, in a rejoinder, the IEBC said failure to enjoin the selection panel in the petition by the petitioners renders the case null and void, as their decision is the one being challenged in the court.
Before I go into the facts, is that even as the court retires to make determinations regarding this petition, we had raised this issue at the preliminary stage. There was opportunity to amend this petition to join the select panel or the selection panel. That was not done.
The National Assembly does not offer secretariat services to the selection panel. He has correctly pointed to the first schedule to the IEBC Act. And Your Lordship, you will note when you retire that it is the Parliamentary Service Commission, which is not a party to these proceedings, which offers secretariat services.
The court was also urged to dismiss the contempt claims as procedurally defective. Geshoke Washira, Prime Edition.
Onto a story we highlighted for you before we took a short break. First Lady Rachel Ruto led national celebrations to mark the 21st International Widows' Day with a rallying call for economic empowerment through existing government programs.
Now, this comes as pressure mounts on authorities to better support widows and the youth amid growing economic and social challenges.
Widows from across the nation converged at Bunga Primary School in Nyamira County to commemorate International Widows Day under the theme Often in Need. Leading the celebrations, First Lady Rachel Ruto called on widows to take advantage of existing women empowerment funds, noting that the government will not create a special fund exclusively for widows.
Serikali iko na mambo mengi sana ambayo inaweza kusaidia kina mama. Umesikia mambo ya Hustler Fund. Hapa katika counties, mambo ya devolution imelete mambo mazuri kukuja chini kwa kina mama. Kwa hivyo kina mama nataka tu kusema kwamba tukiingia katika hiyo vikundi tena tusivunje hiyo vikundi.
The President's advisor on women's rights, Harriet Chigai, echoed the First Lady's sentiments, urging widows to join self-help groups and use them as springboards to access empowerment funds.
It is clear that there are so many funds that the government has put in place. All we need to do, leaders who are here, let us fashion our programs and our activities aligned with the different government funding modules.
A section of the widows shared painful stories of rejection, disinheritance and social isolation after losing their spouses.
Unakuja unaambiwa usipokubali kuchungwa na ndugu ya mme wako hautaishi katika hii boma.
In a separate event in Ruiru, Kiambu County, religious leaders also added their voice to the growing concern.
They need the help right now because there's a lot of resources the government has able to access. But unfortunately, sorry to say, there's a lot of corruption, misuse of resources, and a few people within the government or even the opposition that are swimming in millions and billions of money at the expense of the taxpayer.
At the Ruiru Apostolic Church, over 100 widows received 25,000 shillings each to start small businesses. And in Homa Bay County, Interior Principal Secretary Raymond Omolo handed over a newly constructed house to 80-year-old Rispa Ogaya Nikal, a widow who had been living in a leaking shack.
The house has been leaking during at night time, and when it rains, she has always been sleepless. So we are very grateful for this, and we thank PS for this gesture.
Rispa's house was built under the Widows Empowerment Program, which aims to restore dignity and improve living conditions for elderly widows across Kenya. Mariambo reporting for Prime Edition.
Now, in almost every village in this country and town across Kenya, you'll find families in despair with the scourge of addiction, tales of a son lost to drugs and a daughter numbed by alcohol are all too common stories.
But as Joseph Wahungu reports in the following feature, something is shifting from prayer houses to neighborhood corners. Faith and community are joining hands to bring healing, one life at a time.
Across Kenya, a silent war is being fought. One that doesn't make headlines every day, but tears families apart every hour. Drug and substance abuse is on the rise. Faced with the harsh reality of losing a generation, the National Authority for the Campaign Against Alcohol and Drug Abuse, NACADA, coined a new community-based rehabilitation framework. Launched in April 2025, the program shifts focus from rehabilitation centers into homes and places of worship.
The reason why we began this initiative is because back in 2016, all the way to 2018, we realized in many villages, young men and women were dying out of addiction, out of alcoholism, and every kind of drug abuse. And we noted that even taking them to police, taking them even to jail, chasing them away from home, did not help.
35-year-old Titus Kilonzo knows this well. once a drug addict for 7 years, lost in the streets. Today, he's a gospel artist, using his voice to call others back to life.
Nikaanza kutumia hadi bang, zingine pills, zinaitwa D5, Macosmos, bado ziko kwa streets zinauzwa. So nikaanza kutumia na ikakuwa addiction. Na alafu venye nilianza kupingana nazo ni venye hakuna kitu ya maana naweza fanya. Kila time unatumia drugs hakuna kitu ya maana unaweza fanya.
For his mother Elizabeth Ndunge, the journey was painful.
Polisi mimi siwezi hesabu ile mara sabari nimempeleka. Maana nilikuwa nikimuitania tu nikiwa kwa nyumba. Sasa amenizidi, ananiongelea kwa ugali, unaona wewe nini kwa ukali. Mpaka huyu mtu unaona akizidi hapo hata anaweza kukupika.
In Kiamba area, Kiambu County, John Mwangi, another young man, turned his pain into purpose. After losing his brother to alcoholism, he chose to change. Today, he runs a small animal feed shop.
Nikabadilika, naye Mungu akanishikilia huruma. Nikapata kama mtu bibi sasa. Na nikaoa, kuoa. Mungu akanibariki, kanipea job yenye nafanya hapa ya nini ya kutegeza chuvi ya ng'ombe. Kutoka hapo mimi mambo ya pombe hata siwezi guza hata kunukia.
Na sasa ako kijana mzuri kabisa. Hata sasa ninamtrust. Wakati huo tukiwa kwa nyumba, nilikuwa nawaambia tokeni nifunge. Ni kwao, lakini ninawaambia toka nifunge.
Through partnerships with groups like APEC, community mentors now run support clubs, vocational workshops, and home-based recovery programs, reaching hundreds who would never afford rehab.
So nikawa na burden ya hao vijana wanaitwa chukura. Ndio maana for 10 years nimekuwa nao vijana hapa nikiwalisha chakula hata without well wishers, without anybody, with my members hapa tumewalisha for 10 years. Na kupitia hapo tumerecover bunduki 4, almost 5.
And therefore the community must also join hands. The church involved, the administrative officers, wale tunaita ngao, the sheikhs in the mosques. We can come together and create a platform that these people can find solace in.
Well, that story reminds us that every step forward in addiction, no matter how small, is victory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We do recognize that.
Yeah. Are we going across the borders?
Yeah, to reports compiled by Tilio Marco.
Iran is urging Kenya to join its global partners in piling pressure on Israel to halt the ongoing bombardment of its territory.
Iranian ambassador to Kenya, Dr. Ali Golampur, is warning that the ongoing attacks on Iran are likely to affect the trade between Kenya and the Asian country.
The ambassador says that while Kenyans living and working in Iran are currently safe, their long-term security is not guaranteed unless Israel stops its indiscriminate attacks.
No flight between two countries, and our businessmen are here based in Kenya for exporting, as you mentioned, meat to Iran. There is no flight, and then meat cannot be exported, and all the producers and exporters of meat in Kenya are heavily impacted since they have lost their opportunity to export and to make income and to keep their business alive. And in regards to tea, of course, it is again has a very negative impact.
Staying informed is more important than ever.
Join us every week on News Check, your go-to show for the latest in current affairs,
breaking news and in-depth analysis.
A warm welcome to KBC News Check.
From politics to global events, we bring you content that matter to you.
We're not just speaking about the governance and how we want to see it, but want to actually participate.
Get your facts, hear from the experts, and really understand what is happening around you.
We need to change our system first.
You have to do the impossible to make sure the message is home.
Stay ahead, stay informed, stay engaged.
Will these people, everybody agree?
Just listen to me.
Let's give him a chance to clear the air.
Catch News Check every Tuesday and Wednesday from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Only on KBC Channel 1.
What's inside?
My stuff.
What is inside? What are you doing with her clothes? Leave this compound. Talk Wende.
Or what?
I'm the man of this house. You're going to leave as I instruct. Or else.
Else what?
Mbona uko umenidharau hivi? What? I don't. Ama ni jusiezi pata watoto?
Yes, amedhihirisha wazi. Yeye ni ndume katika hii boma.
There's something wrong.
Whatever is wrong with her, I don't care. She won't step in this house again.
I'm not working with Gloria. And please don't drag my name into her messes.
Thank you for keeping it Prime Edition. Time for us to switch to business news. The government has withdrawn 77 out of the 430 reviewed pesticides from the Kenyan market and restricted the use of 202 harmful pesticide products used on various crops. Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock Development Cabinet Secretary Mutahi Kagwe says a further 151 products are under review by the Pest Control Products Board, with a decision on their approval expected by December 2025, as compiled by Alan Aoko.
An additional 279 pesticides have been banned and restricted from users in the Kenyan market after review by the Pest Control Products Board. This brings the total of flagged chemicals to 329 after the regulator banned 50 pesticides last month. Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Mutahi Kagwe says the banned chemicals have active ingredients of 11 harmful compounds. The compounds are said to be harmful to humans and have been banned in the countries of origin, including Kenya's key export market destinations, including the European Union. A section of players in the agriculture value chain want a more detailed communique outlining the use of restricted pesticides.
We would like consistency in terms of review processes and how they are communicated. For example, this thing about restriction versus withdrawing, it really should be clearly communicated what is what and how it's going to be implemented, especially the restriction.
An additional 151 pesticides are under review as PCPB tightens pesticides regulation in a bid to boost food safety.
It's a bold and commendable move from the Ministry of Agriculture, but the implementation will make or break it. The 77 withdrawn products is a big step. It's something that the civil society, consumers, farmers, public health experts have always called for.
Kagwe had promised to shed light on the way on harmful pesticides 2 weeks ago, after concerns of the safety of chemicals used in food production.
Farmers are now seeking clarity on the issues that are arising from the statement that was released by the Ministry of Agriculture to seek exactly which products have been withdrawn and those that have been restricted as they visit their favorite agrovet. Alan Aoko, Prime Edition.
Kenya has secured a 34 billion shilling financing agreement with the International Fund for Agricultural Development aimed at improving rural livelihoods and promoting sustainable management of natural resources. The concessional loan, with a combined interest and service charge of 2.8%, will be repaid over 25 years, including a 5-year grace period, as reported by Weri Munjenga.
The 34 billion shillings funding is expected to build resilience, improve food security, and empower communities to manage forests, wetlands, water catchment areas, and arable land more sustainably. The fund will support the newly launched Integrated Natural Resource Management Program targeting 10 counties in the North Rift and Nyanza regions.
Particular findings, about 262 in total, US dollars. The loan is a concessional loan, and in the interest of openness that Treasury has embraced. You just mentioned that the interest rate is about 1.4%. Of course, there is also some fees of another 1.3, so you can call it 2.7. But that is a 25-year loan. The payment period, 25 years. With 5 years, we are given 5 years to prepare to pay. Grace period.
The program is aimed to tackle climate change, environmental degradation, and declining land and water resources by promoting community-led conservation, supporting income-generating activities for rural households, and strengthening policies and institutions for sustainable natural resources management.
INREMP is a timely and unique project in many ways. Notably, it synergizes on the nexus of conservation and agriculture, two subsectors which are joined at the hip. This novel programming approach consolidates inter-ministry impact between my ministry and the Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock Development for maximum benefit to the people of Kenya.
We do intend to really change and reinforce the Changara Hills and Mao West water towers across the 10 counties, and we hope that the communities will be able to better manage forests, better manage natural ecosystems, better manage arable land, better manage wetlands and water bodies.
To further support rural transformation, IFAD is currently implementing 4 other programs in Kenya, which are helping smallholder farmers improve productivity, access markets, and tap into financial services. Wairi Mujenga for Prime Edition.
The Intergovernmental Authority on Development, IGAD, is asking member states, including Kenya, to increase adoption of agriculture funds. IGAD's Food Systems Program Coordinator, Senait Regasa, says agriculture funds adoption has been hampered by conflicts in the region that have also affected the food supply chain, increasing the region's food imports bill.
The National Treasury allocated the agriculture sector for 7.6 billion shillings in the 2025-2026 budget. This represents 1% of the total budget, below the Malabo Declaration recommendation of 10%. To mitigate the funding shortfall, IGAD says there is need for the government to ensure complete absorption of the agriculture funding.
In the region, for farmers would get all the necessary agricultural extension services, inputs, and the like. That will translate into transformation of our agricultural seeds.
So some of that money in mitigation, government can meanwhile go ahead to plan, but eventually the money doesn't come because it gets diverted by some of those issues.
The government has been advised to use technology to monitor uptake of the funds to ensure target interventions are realized. Governments in the Horn of Africa have been encouraged to embrace dialogue to minimize conflicts that have curtailed the food supply chain in the region, increasing the region's food import bill.
When there is a conflict, the normal production activities cannot take place. Transportation will be disrupted, impacting food security.
Additionally, IGAD member states have been encouraged to harmonize their tariffs to increase food cross-border trade.
Uganda can have surplus food, then Somalia people are starving. You get it is not flowing. Southern Sudan doesn't have the food, but they have a lot of oil, so they can have the money. If Uganda or Kenya has a surplus, it would flow.
They were speaking during the IGAD's Regional Agriculture Investment Plan that aims at increasing regional agriculture production by 45% and increasing value addition by 35%. Benson Rioba reporting for Prime Edition.
From agriculture funding to aviation safety, as Kenya targets higher revenues from its expanding aviation sector, safety concerns surrounding flights operating over or near conflict zones are gaining increased attention. Kenya Civil Aviation Authority's Director of Aviation Safety and Security Regulations, Mary Keter says policy changes are needed to prioritize risk assessment and preparedness to ensure growth doesn't compromise passenger safety or business continuity.
Air passenger traffic rose by 38.5% in 2024, with over 10 million passengers handled at Jomo Kenyatta International Airport alone. Industry players attending a regional aviation safety seminar in Nairobi say this increased air traffic also brings new challenges, key among them being the need to ensure aircraft do not inadvertently fly into near or high-risk conflict zones.
You will have financial conflicts because of areas of conflict where when you reroute flights, you have longer distances. That is a lot of fuel on the aircraft. You can imagine how costly this is. Also changing the routes, you disadvantage the passengers, their schedules.
There hasn't been more conflicts in the world since World War II. So we are at basically the most conflicts since World War II, which is obviously as we travel all over the world, in every airspace, which basically brings its sets of issues and risk and threats.
They say that regional cooperation is essential to ensuring uniformity in applying risk assessment frameworks and enhancing timely information sharing.
We understand it can be challenging sometimes for states that are in conflict to do the right thing and basically inform all air operators at the same time of the risk and the threat within their airspace. We call that airspace responsibility or accountability.
From the regulator side, that is the Civil Aviation Authority, all these discussions, normally you can see it leads to regulatory, maybe amendments. Maybe the Civil Aviation Act could require amendments to incorporate some of these emerging trends. So for Kenya is ready, KCA is ready to adopt to the changes and to embrace and help the industry to actually implement these new changes.
With Kenya being a regional aviation hub, players believe the country is well positioned to lead in implementing international safety standards amid growing air traffic volumes across Africa. Trevor Ngendo for Prime Edition.
For years, the harm of bees in Baringo was synonymous with men. Beekeeping was a sacred tradition woven into the people cultural activities. But today, women armed with modern knowledge and a vision for economic independence are venturing into the world of bees, transforming their lives and communities. With a high demand for honey, beekeeping has emerged as a golden opportunity for women seeking financial stability and a better quality of life, as compiled in this report.
Women in Baringo are breaking gender norms through beekeeping driven by a quest for financial independence. Once a male-dominated tradition, the practice is now offering rural women a lifeline amid rising demand for honey.
Kiwango ya wamama ambayo wanaingia katika hii value chain imekuwa ni kubwa, inaendelea kukua mingi. Kwa hivyo hii ni value chain ambayo tumejaribu kuona venye tutaweza kuintegrate gender na tuone venye wamama wanaweza kuwa wakihusishwa hata katika hii value chain.
Agnes Bustine from Baringo South, once ridiculed for venturing into beekeeping, now manages 18 hives. Her steady harvests have eased school expenses and brought financial relief to her family.
Katika vikundi tumepata elimu nyingi sana ambaye inatufunza kwamba hata akina mama wanaweza fanya kazi ya ufugaji wa nyuki na waweze kuwa na manufaa na kupata pesa ambayo tutajimudu katika manyumba zetu.
In Kimalel, Maureen turned to beekeeping after farming failed. With 7 hives by a seasonal river, she now enjoys reliable income and food security.
Kwa sasa tuko na mizinga, tumefanya kama kikundi cha kina mama. Kikundi chenyewe kinaitwa Logoyo Women Group, ambao tuko na mizinga kadhaa. Tunatunza, tumeweka mahali moja. Na tumeanza kuona matokeo yake mazuri.
These women are not just sustaining their families, they are inspiring others to follow suit and transform their lives.
19 nations will compete in the Total Energies CAF African Nations Championship, Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania 2024, which will be staged from 2nd to 30th August 2025. Amongst the 4 groups in the tournament A to D, Kenya is pooled in Group A, together with Morocco, Angola, DR Congo and Zambia.
Algeria from the set piece, the header is on target, but it's saved.
This unique competition featuring the best locally based players from across the continent definitely has something for everyone. Just bring your A game as you let it flow live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
A very good evening to you. My name is Daniel Wahome and welcome to Prime Edition Sport. Now, Olympic history was written today in a highly symbolic and emotional ceremony at Olympic House in Lausanne, Switzerland, to mark the handover of the presidency of the International Olympic Committee, the IOC, from Thomas Bach to Kirsty Coventry. Bach, an Olympic champion in fencing for Germany at the Olympic Games in Montreal in 1976, has been leading the organization for the last 12 years and hands over to double Olympic champion Kirsty Coventry of Zimbabwe, who becomes the first woman and the first African to ever hold the IOC's highest office.
I hand over the keys of Olympic House to Mrs. Kirsty Coventry, the 10th President of the International Olympic Committee.
The movement has been served by you, as you just mentioned, with pure passion and purpose for 12 years. You have kept us united through some of the most turbulent times, and you've led us to an incredible Paris, which I hope was one of the best ways we could all say thank you. You've left us with many legacies, one of those being together. And that's something that I hope we all feel for leading us with all that passion and that purpose for so many years and never wavering once from our values.
Each of you has shaped this, our shared Olympic journey, in your own way. Your belief in our mission, your unwavering support, I have felt it every step. In difficult moments, it was your support that helped us navigate forward. Without all of you, the Olympic movement would not be where it is today.
And the national junior boys rollerball team got their World Cup campaign off to a flying start with a dominant 9-0 victory over the Democratic Republic of the Congo in their opening match at the Kasarani Indoor Arena. Frederick Moki reports.
6 teams are participating in the inaugural Junior Rollerball World Cup, which Kenya is hosting for the first time. The tournament kicked off with an opening ceremony at the Kasarani Indoor Arena, followed by the opening match between hosts Kenya and the Democratic Republic of Congo. Kenya delivered a spectacular performance, taking a commanding 6-0 lead in the first half. They maintained their momentum in the second half, scoring 3 more goals to seal a dominant 9-0 victory.
Today we performed exemplary well. We've prepared so very well because of today, and the kids did amazing. And we are hoping that we'll continue with the same spirit.
The impressive win sets the tone for the hosts in their debut appearance at the Global Championship.
The game is fun. We have been preparing very well. Tumetrain, makocha wametutrain, wametutayarisha, and we think We thank them for their good work.
Kenya is playing host to the inaugural World Cup for juniors as the Kenyan teams seek to continue showing a sparkling performance in front of home fans as the championship is scheduled to culminate on 29th of this month. Reporting for Prime Edition Sports from Kasarani Indoor Arena, Nairobi, my name is Frederick Mwoki.
And as Kenya gears up to host the Africa Para-Volleyball Championships from the 1st to the 10th of July, the national men's and women's teams have commenced intensive residential training at the Kasarani Indoor Arena. The home teams are looking to leverage local support and their familiarity with the venue as they aim to secure qualification for this year's World Championships set to take place in the United States of America in October.
Kenya's team for this year's Africa Para-Volleyball Championship is optimistic about delivering an impressive performance in front of home fans after officially checking into residential camp at Kasarani Stadium. The men's team, led by experienced African Nazarene coach Julius Ouma, is in high spirits, boosted by the inclusion of seasoned players such as James Mangerer.
The players, my message to them, that's that whenever we are going to face the opponent, if they apply that skill I give them, well, I think we'll sail through. Even the opponent, our tough opponent, that is Egypt, we are going to beat them.
So far mazoezi yako vizuri, tunaendelea kujikaza, tunajaribu, makocha wanajaribu kurekebisha mahali ambapo tulikuwa na makosa mwaka uliopita, kuangalia kwamba timu ambazo zile tutakazo pambana nazo tuna uwezo wa kupambana nao vilivyo.
Meanwhile, the women's team has also expressed confidence in their readiness to shine on home soil. The Continental Tournament doubles as the final qualifier for the 2025 World Para-Volleyball Championships in the United States, with the top two teams in each category earning a spot at the global event. Frederick Mwoki for Prime Edition.
An English Premier League side, Manchester City, thrashed Al Ain of the United Arab Emirates by 6-0 at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium to book a place in the last 16 of the ongoing FIFA Club World Cup in the US. City now go level on 6 points with Juventus in Group G after a commanding performance. Ilkay Gundogan netted twice in the 8th and 73rd minutes. Claudio Echeverri added another in the 27th minute. Erling Haaland converted a penalty, and new signing Ryan Cherki scored his debut goal in the 87th minute. In another match, 10-man Real Madrid overcame an early red card to defeat Mexico's Pachuca 3-1 at the Bank of America Stadium. Raul Asensio was sent off early, but Madrid held firm to secure the win. Meanwhile, Juventus cruised to a 4-1 victory over Wydad Casablanca last night at the Lincoln Financial Field.
Gundogan will keep it alive though. Clip ball in towards, it's gone in. I think he was trying to find Haaland, but it's gone in. Now Bernardo looks the likeliest, but it's Echeverri! His first ever City goal. City have a third. Erling Haaland. Opening up. Bernardo Silva, Ilkay Gundogan, exquisite. Bob. And still, that's number 5. Is the time for the... It's a risky policy. Cherki dummies it, gets it back and scores his first City.
Thuram trying to squeeze it through, and it's tucked away. Well, that could... He's going to get something here from Lorch. They do. Scalamwani. Yildiz, he's in, and he's done it again. Here he goes, and he scores, and it is...
And the Club World Cup gets into match day 3 tonight. Seattle Sounders against PSG at 10 a.m. 10 p.m. Atletico Madrid against Botafogo also at that time. And for those who believe in the spirit of Hakuna Kurara, Porto play against Al Ahly at 4 a.m. and Inter Milan against Palmeiras at 4 a.m. East African time. Moving on is a championship leader Elvin Evans will take a 19-point lead into the 7th leg of this season's World Rally Championship, the WRC Eco Acropolis Larry Greece set for the 26th to the 29th of June. Evans has won 2 of the 6 opening legs of the season, Rally Sweden and the Safari Rally Kenya, and sits above second place Sebastian Ogier, who has 3 wins, while Kalle Rovanperä has 1 win and sits third on the standings.
The Eco Acropolis Rally Greece is one of the season's most demanding events on the WRC calendar and returns to the heart of Athens in 2025 with a spectacular city centre super special stage from Thursday. The drivers will tackle 11 stages of urban roads, forest roads, water crossing and village roads as they battle for points, with the WRC hitting the halfway mark of the season. One driver that is eyeing victory at the Acropolis is Takamoto Katsuta as he aims to rebuild confidence following a challenging run to 5th overall on Rally Italia Sardinia. The Japanese driver rolled his Toyota GR Yaris Rally 1 on SS5 of the 6th round and also lost time changing a wheel on the penultimate day. Despite the troubles, Katsuta managed to reach the finish and collect valuable points on an event that offered little rhythm. Katsuta now heads to Greece with a pre-event test planned and a clear objective to dial in confidence on similarly rough conditions. Katsuta is 6th overall on the standings behind 5th placed Thierry Neuville and above Adrien Fourmeau, who is 7th. After Eco Acropolis Rally Greece, the drivers open the second leg of the season with Rally Estonia on 17th to 20th of July, with the season set to end with Rally Saudi Arabia on 27th to 30th of November.
And that's the sport for tonight. And remember, we'll be keeping tabs on the Junior Volleyball World Cup. Remember that Kenya are the world champions when it comes to the men and the women. There are 2 World Cups in the country at the moment. And also, there is a World Military Golf Championships happening in Diani. My name is Daniel Wahome. Thank you for being with us. Let's join. We'll be back tomorrow evening with all the news that you need to keep up with. Back to our IT team, Irene and Tom.
Many thanks indeed, Daniel Wahome, for that sporty date. Believe it or not, it's exactly 10 o'clock. And we want to thank you for joining us on the day that the Interior Principal Secretary Raymond Omolo urged the religious institutions to guide the youth to take a greater role in mentoring the youth.
Thank you also for your feedback on our social media platforms at KBC Channel 1. We don't take your time for granted.
That's right. We've got some reactions here. I think this one is a reaction to the extrajudicial story that we highlighted for you earlier. Calvin Wangwe saying he's watching Prime Edition from Kasarani here in Nairobi, Kenya. And he writes, I sympathize with the parents of the Gen Z who lost their lives in the quest for good governance. May justice prevail, and may justice not only be done, but may it also be seen to be done, because justice delayed is justice denied.
Also, quick acknowledgements. Andrew Mreithi watching KBC Channel 1 from Nyeri. Mercy Wafula Nedi watching KBC from Webuye. And Michael Masinde Wana Mbuko, is it, from Roysambu, Nairobi.
We'll be back again tomorrow, same station, same time. My name is Mboya. Good night from Nairobi, Kenya.
I am Muchuma Odim. Our sign language expert tonight is Anne Wangeshi. God bless you.
Semana Sports.
Semana Spokes is a bold, enlightening television show that offers Kenyans a direct line to the heart of government operations. Hosted by the government spokesman, Isaac Mwaura.
Welcome to Semana Spokes Bonga da Gava.
This weekly program features candid conversations with senior government officials, cabinet secretaries, and heads of key parastatals as they break down their ministries' achievements, challenges, and strategic plans.
Cage aquaculture farming, 8.7 billion.
Yes.
So there's a lot of money.
There's a lot of, and we have not even tapped the potential.
As we get closer to start constructing the first nuclear program, we should have a robust regulatory framework.
Thank you, the spokesperson, for this chance, where we are able to converse with our government.
Semana Spokes.
Hii sio story ya jaba.
Sio story ya jaba. Mimi ni Mkenya mzalendo daima.
Thank you.
Tuesday at 8 p.m. only on KBC Channel 1.
What's inside?
My stuff.
What is inside? What are you doing with her clothes? Leave this compound. Talk Wende.
Or what?
I'm the man of this house. You're going to leave as I instruct. Or else.
Else what?
Mad.